During the fantasy football season, I'm going to go through take every pick in 12-team leagues. As this mock draft, I had the second pick overall and show the breakdown and the strategy in this video. So second pick overall in this mock draft, Jamar Chase, he followed me. The person ahead of me in this mock went Bijan Robinson, where there are some arguments out there that the first pick could be between, obviously, Saquon Barkley, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson. With Chase, he's number one on my board is Jamar. A monster season last year, once again, Triple Crown winner. Him and Joe Burrow locked in, got his contract in the offseason. And now, Chase, he wants to be a winner and still hungry to be that best wide receiver in the league. So I think once again this year, he goes out there, has a big season. And as long as Joe Burrow's healthy, he's going to be a top 1-2 player overall. Once again, I believe Bucky Irvin, I took him in the late second round. Bucky Irvin last year, a great rookie season. The only thing I think is there is a possibility Rachaad White still could eat into the workload a little bit. When we know White, he's one of the better receiving backs out of the backfield. But in between the tackles, even though he's a smaller running back, Bucky Irvin went out there in his rookie season and had a big season. To start off with chasing him, it's a decent combo. Then 3-2 range, I took Trey McBride, second best tight end in fantasy football, in my opinion. After Brock Bowers in his rookie season last year went out there, had a monster year, over 100 catches. But Trey McBride, the number one option in that passing game for Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. And there were some wide receivers I liked and some running backs I liked, but I just didn't want to reach number 2 tight end going into the year. I think it's good value in the third round. So Trey McBride, he shores me up at the tight end position. And obviously I would have a little bit of an advantage head-to-head versus other tight ends in the league with taking McBride. Then 4-11 spot, Devonta Smith. Last season, some injuries here and there was for Devonta Smith. And obviously Saquon Barkley had the 2,000-yard rushing year where the passing game wasn't needed early and often. And obviously Jalen Hurts, one of the better running quarterbacks in the league. But I think Devonta Smith, he could be a fringe number 2, definitely 3 wide receiver for fantasy owners. And obviously early on going into this draft, he's going to be my number 2 wideout. Then at the 5-2 spot, RJ Harvey. They drafted him pretty early in the NFL draft this year's Denver. Javonte Williams, he left in free agency, signing with the Dallas Cowboys. So I think Harvey, between him and J.K. Dobbins, it's going to be who they signed a couple weeks ago in this backfield was Denver. But Harvey, one of the better receiving backs in this past NFL draft. And it wouldn't be surprising to me if Harvey goes out there, at minimum be a third down back and could catch anywhere from 40 to 50 catch balls this season. So as my number 2 running back, maybe a little bit risky, but I still think Harvey, if he could have a game in and game out role, touching at least 8 to 10 touches per game in the early going, and obviously his role expands. He could be good as the year goes on. Then Joe Mixon, I know right now he's banged up, but reports are coming out that he's going to be ready for the season opener week 1, it looks like. And to get him in the back end of the 6th round, I think is good value at the 6-11 spot for Joe Mixon. So right now, Mixon, like I said, he might not be ready. I know they got Nick Chubb. I know they got Dameon Pierce, but Mixon last year, for the most part, was good. I know he missed a few games, obviously, with the foot ankle injury, and he's at the latter part of his career with a lot of wear and tear on his body. But Mixon still can catch the football out of the backfield. He's in a good offense with C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk. I know they traded for it. We know Hank Dell was out for the season after tearing his leg up versus the Kansas City Chiefs late last season. But I think Mixon at this value in the 6th round definitely is a nice grab for me in this one. And like I said, with me not sure where Harvey is the number 2 running back, I added more depth where a guy could step right in to that number 2 spot. Then Tortoria McMillan, I'm big on him going into the season. In my opinion, he's going to be the number 1 off the bat in the receiving room for the Carolina Panthers. And we've seen a guy like Adam Thielen, who's past his prime of his career over the last 2 seasons, have good years with Bryce Young at quarterback. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if McMillan could step in with his athleticism and obviously his catching ability and size to go in and have a good impact season in his rookie year. Then 8th round, 8-11 pick, Justin Fields. Fields, his first year with the New York Jets. We know Fields, he's a dual threat in football. He could run for 1,000 yards. We've seen it in his career. I just thought last season with the Steelers, before Russell Wilson got inserted back into the starting lineup, they were being careful with him, and he wasn't running the ball as much. But now he's got the keys, obviously, with this New York Jet team. We know he got hurt a little bit in training camp with a toe injury, but he's been out there, he's been practicing and playing well. And just the upside alone, I think Justin Fields, he's got potential if he's going to play the whole season and not get hurt to be top 5, top 8 quarterback all season long. Then the 9-2 pick, Jaden Reed. Reed last season, it was an up and down year. Jordan Love, he took a step back with injuries and inconsistent play. And that Packer receiving room just wasn't that great. But Jaden Reed in the 9th round, obviously to take him as my 4th wide receiver, I would be comfortable with that going into a fantasy season. So I think in the 9th round to get Jaden Reed, I think is good value. Like I said, I still believe he's going to be a number 1 or 2 wide receiver in that room, even though the Packers have a collection of wide receivers and drafted Matthew Golden in the past NFL draft. But like I said, Reed's dynamic. He can line up different places on the field. And I like him in the 9th round as a backup. 10th round, Javonte Williams, to me, looks like the starter for now going into the season for the Dallas Cowboys. I know they brought in Miles Sanders. I know drafted Jaden Blue, who could be obviously a late-round flyer, sleeper rookie going into the season. But Javonte's got the experience. Now it's going to be another year coming off that ACL, and maybe he could find something in this Cowboy offense where teams obviously aren't going to load the box where they got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, a great 1-2 combo, and Jake Ferguson, who they just gave an extension to at the tight end position. So Williams, it could be running lanes, decent receiver out of the backfield. And like I said, to have him as my 4th running back, I think ain't bad. Then the 11th round, Tutton, I took this backfield. We don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, Travis Etienne a down year last year. Tank Bigsby, he showed some flashes, but he can't catch the football out of the backfield. And Tootin, I think, could step in and show explosiveness and obviously be good for this Jaguar team. So to take a rookie and have him my 5th running back, I think solid. Then 12th round, Keon Coleman. I'm big on Keon Coleman coming into the year. Last year, I like him as well going into the season as Coleman. Right now, I know Shakir is that number 1 wide receiver, but the number 2 target in the passing game in that offense is wide open, in my opinion. I know Dalton Kincaid's there. We know James Cook, he's a solid running back. But I think Keon Coleman, he could step in and take a next step this season. And then to close it out, Rashad Bateman, he's a deep ball threat. Him and Lamar, they've hooked up on some plays over the season. Last year, he showed some flashes as Bateman. I know they added DeAndre Hopkins in the offseason to the receiving room. And obviously, Zay Flowers, easily the number 1 wideout, and Mark Andrews still there. But I think Rashad Bateman, he's going to be my 6th wide receiver on this roster and someone who could go out there and be a good bench piece and at times have some pop-off games. If this offense, like we've seen many times, just has those big 40-plus point games. So the final roster with the number 2 pick, Justin Fields, the quarterback, I think will be solid this year with the running ability, and the Jets trailing a lot of games. Jamar Chase, he fell to number 2, and he's the number 1 on my board, so that was a no-brainer. Devonta Smith, we'll see if he has a bounce-back year as my receiver too. Bucky Irvin last year, monster rookie season it was. I don't know if he'll put up the exact numbers he did, but I think 1,000 yards rushing and catching 30-40 passes is a possibility for Bucky this year. RJ Harvey, we'll see if he gets a lot of opportunity entering the season. In the beginning, with obviously J.K. Dobbins, they signed over there. Then the tight end, Trey McBride, last year, monster season, easily the number 1 target in the offense and the number 2 tight end in fantasy football coming into the season. Then Joe Mixon at the flex position, I think he'll be ready by week 1. And to steal him in the 6th round, I think is good value. Then the bench, Tatorian McMillan, a player I'm big on, and he could be a big piece and a championship winning type wide receiver, I think, going into the year. Jaden Reed last year, up and down year. I think Reed, to have him as my 4th wide receiver is very solid going in. Javonte Williams, he's going to start for the Cowboys, I believe, in the early going. Believe it or not, he's still in his mid-20s. He possibly could bounce back and be surprising a little bit. Then Tatum, I think that backfield's open, like I said, in Jacksonville between Bigsby, Etienne, and him. Then Keon Coleman, that number 2 in the passing game could be wide open for anybody, I think, in Buffalo in the receiving game. So Coleman in his 2nd year, I think, could improve. And Rashad Bateman, who's been a deep ball threat and a good target of Lamar Jackson. Not pop-off games here and there, so that's with the number 2 pick, the players I took in the breakdown entering the 2025 fantasy football season with drafts approaching in the next few weeks.